Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. The other two are just along for the ride. Three. Forgot this is the banter session. Kirk, say hi.
Hello.
James, say what's up.
Hey.
We are joined by Jordan Pacheco. You may have heard of him. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Good. Is it okay if we call you coach today?
Yeah. That was perfect.
All right, coach.
That's what I signed up for. So yeah, let's do it.
So are you in New Mexico right now, or where are you at?
Yeah, we live in my family and I. We live in Albuquerque now, so that's where I'm from, and we moved back here I think maybe at the beginning of last year. So we've been here for a little bit.
Yeah. So with the lockout and stuff, what are you doing now? Are you hearing anything? Or are you just kind of sitting and waiting?
Just sitting and waiting right now. I mean, you guys probably know as much as I do. You guys probably know more than I do. But yeah, I mean, just kind of waiting on when spring training is supposed to go, if big league spring training is happening, but obviously minor league spring training to go, and that'll start up beginning of March. So at least we're going to have baseball, which is good. So, and so that's good.
Yeah. Typically you would know, pitchers and catchers report middle of February, and that's a week away. So we haven't heard anything. So we'll see what happens here, I guess.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for that. So, but again, we'll keep our fingers crossed and everybody say your prayers at night, and hopefully we can get this thing going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than the minor league guys that are battling for spots, major league guys, I bet they don't really mind taking the spring off a little bit or starting late, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the spring training gets a little long, so, but again, there's obviously all the anticipation for it, especially for the young guys if it's their first spring camp and stuff, and you don't want to take that away from them. That's something special, and they earned it. And so again, there's older guys, they don't want to be there for 2 months, but those younger guys, something special for them. So
yeah, some guys are trying to make a team. So
yeah, and they need as much time as they can, especially getting into spring. Some guys don't start off hot, some guys do, and it's a tough situation, but
right. Did you, with pitchers and catchers reporting early, were you reporting early, being the super utility corner plus catcher that you are?
No, I think I was going to just report with the position guys. So
okay.
They didn't say anything about, helping any of the catching. I mean, we got Jerry Weinstein, so he does all the catching. He doesn't, and then we got Mark Stripmatter too. So those guys got it under control. But yeah, if they ever asked me to do it, I would love to come and help.
Yeah, Weinstein, he's still around, isn't he? He's been around forever.
He's been around forever. Every time I see him, he doesn't age somehow. I don't know. I think he's still, because he still surfs in the whenever he gets a chance to surf, he surfs.
Seriously?
Yeah, he lives in San Luis Obispo, so he's always out. I mean, I think he's 80 something.
Yeah, he's up there. That's crazy.
He's still doing it. Doing it. I thought he was 80 something when I was playing, but yes,
that's hilarious. You said you went back home. I know you grew up in Albuquerque, graduated from Albuquerque, went to U of NM, I guess, New Mexico.
Yep.
Are you back in your childhood home?
No. I got a family now, so I don't know if my parents would allow that. I mean, they probably would love it. I got 2 little ones, so but we live really close. We live probably 5 minutes up the road, and my parents love it. They get to see their grandkids all the time, and yeah, it's a good spot, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that we get to kind of stay in one place for first time in a while, and I can just be able to coach and come home every night to the same house, which is nice. So yeah, there's a lot of positives here, and I love this town. Something about it brings you back all the time.
Yeah, I just want to say that when I heard that you were hitting coach for Albuquerque, it just seemed like the perfect fit for you. Not only because you're a native there, but because you were kind of that journeyman type of player that spent a lot of time down there. And I'm just kind of curious, how that experience that you had is going to translate to your coaching with just I'm sure that's a mental grind constantly kind of on that fringe type of player. And I just feel like you're going to fit into that role perfectly. Can you just kind of explain how that mental toll that has on you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's kind of the reason, when I kind of got into this, and like you said, it kind of just was kind of a perfect fit. A lot of these guys are going to be dealing with going up and down. A lot of these guys, they're going to be starting families. There's off the field stuff that they're going to have to be dealing with trying to fulfill their dream and get into the big leagues, and then getting sent down and wondering why they got sent down and how can they get back up there. And that was pretty much my career in a nutshell right there. It was just that constant back and forth, and how can I get better? What do I need to do? What position do I need to play? What glove do I need to buy next to get a chance? And that's what these guys deal with, and they're all good players. And that's the thing too that you got to explain to them is sometimes it's just the opportunity. Sometimes it's just getting a chance. And sometimes these guys, I played with a lot of good players that just never got that chance and never got that opportunity, that one thing that just didn't happen for them, but they could have easily played in the big leagues, or they easily earned a shot. So that's the tough part. I think that's the really tough part about AAA is you got to stay focused and be in the moment and just try to win baseball games, and whatever happens. But again, you're trying to get to the show. You're trying to do what you've been trying to, you got on this ride for when you were 5 years old. So it's tough, but yeah, so that's the thing I hope I can help them with the most. I mean, the hitting stuff now, I mean, you guys see on Instagram, we got hitting gurus all over the place. So that's, we know what the swing is. We know how to teach the swing. We know how to look at the numbers. We know how to look at the data. It's just how to get these guys in the right mental space to perform every night and to be okay with, what, I got sent down. It's okay. I'll be back up there next week, just keep that positive attitude. So I think that's my main goal, and that's my main job being here, is to keep that, not have them ride that emotional roller coaster, have them, steady, even keel. And hopefully I can help them do that, because I know that's the only way you can play. That's the only way you can get back, and keeping that positive attitude. And that's it. And I mean, I know it sounds like stuff you hear when you're 12 years old, stay positive, but man, you got to really do that when you're in AAA. It's just tough. You can't get brought down.
Yeah, I think when you were with the Rockies, the AAA affiliate at the time was Colorado Springs. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what was your mentality approaching the altitude at all of those places as a player and now as a coach? Because Colorado Springs is higher than Denver is, and then Denver, of course, being what it is, and then Albuquerque is just right there along with Denver as far as elevation. So how did you approach the elevation as a player, and how are you going to approach it now as a coach?
I think as a player, it kind of was just like natural for me because I played in it my whole life. So it was kind of just something I always did. And I think that's why I was a contact hitter pretty much my whole career. Is you put the ball in play, good things are going to happen, especially at altitude. So, those were kind of some of the adjustments I had to make when I went to other leagues and, other parts of the country. But, especially playing here, yeah, that was my main objective, was just put the ball in play. But I know the game's changed since then. It's not about average. It is, average does matter, but there's so many other things we can look at. There's so many other things that we can help these guys get better with. And especially now, all the numbers on the pitchers, and we can literally tell when you're swinging at bad pitches, good pitches, your approach, and nobody even has to look at video anymore. So yeah, I think it's definitely, I have an advantage, I think, for being here. Just, I know how, it's tough to play though too. You're playing in altitude every day. Body's not going to be as fresh all the time. But me being the hitting coach, I can kind of regulate some of those things and make sure these guys aren't overworking themselves and that they're ready for 7 o'clock and not 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like when you, I guess, what am I asking? So the 3 true outcomes right now, like you just said, the game's changed a lot since you were playing 5-10 years. What's your take on these 3 true outcomes? Like, are you, I guess, from a coaching perspective and then like an old ball player perspective, like how are you going about where the game is right now? Like, you trying to make the contact hitters, trying to coach up contact, or like the game is what it is? I'm going to help you everything you need to get to that next level. Just kind of your thoughts on that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think they know what wins baseball games, and as a team, but then there's, what pays the player kind of thing too. Like there's different things that they look at. So yeah, but again, I'm trying to make them the best player they possibly can be. And if, we see something that sticks out, especially with the numbers, which is great now. I never had that opportunity coming up. It was like, you look up at the scoreboard, what's my average? Okay, I'm hitting 300. Okay, I'm doing well.
Right.
Now you can look at that and you'd be like, well, yeah, but you're not really helping the team score runs, or you're not really, hitting when it matters. Or you're chasing too much. Your plate discipline, yeah, you're hitting 300, but you're not swinging at pitches that you can drive. So I think it's great. I think it's great where the game's going. There's just more information, but it's how do you filter that? How do you filter that to the player? And how do you give them enough where they know that you're really trying to help them, and you're not holding anything back, like to make them a better player? Because I've always felt that when I was playing that, they know more than I do. Like, what can I do? What can I do? And the coaches say, I'll just keep playing. Now we actually know what you can do better. We can look and we can see. And if you hit the ball a little bit harder, yeah, your slugging's going to go up, your ISO is going to go up, your weighted on base, it's going to be better. You're going to actually help the team score runs. We're going to be more efficient that way. So yeah, I think it's great, but I think you gotta, and that was tough for me the last probably like 3 or 4 years, is just kind of learning all this stuff and what do I think matters and what do I think makes a good hitter. And that's kind of why I wanted to keep playing, just so I could understand that stuff. And I think now I have a good grasp of it. And now kind of being on the other side and being able to actually have access to all that stuff, I think I can help guys on that aspect and make sure they look good on paper and that they're actually helping the team win.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Like, there's a learning curve for you. Like, kind of like you said, like these stats are new to you. Like, and I think that gets lost by fans, by people. Like, analytics are cool. Like, we have all these numbers now, but like, it's new to most people. Not everybody knows how to use numbers. Not everybody knows how to make them better. So I guess you've mentioned it, but like, what have you done these last few years, like, to really dive into this new number system for yourself to like really help you with the coaching piece?
Yeah. So yeah, I started literally with myself and like, why was I not in the big leagues? Why was I not getting signed, kind of thing? And I think you just go from there. You look at the physical part. Okay, is it something with my body? And this is kind of how like my process is now. It's like, is it something with my body? Is it physical? Like, do I not have enough range of motion? Am I not strong enough? And then you check those boxes and you go and, do whatever you need to do with that. Get with a chiropractor, get with somebody who can analyze your body. Then intellectually, okay, is my approach? How is my approach? Is my approach match my numbers and what I'm swinging at the best? Am I swinging at the pitches that I actually drive the best? Am I being a smart hitter when I'm studying the reports? And then it goes kind of to the psychological thing too. Like, am I confident in what I'm doing? Do I believe in this? Okay, then all right, then kind of like, okay, can I regulate my emotions when I'm looking over all this stuff and when I'm at the plate and when I'm actually in the game? Like, what's that process look like? And so those are all kind of the things that I've been able to kind of learn and dive into, and then that's helped me. I've been able to use all that stuff and then look at the numbers and be like, okay, and having especially our analytical guys with the Rockies run me through stuff. What is our process? How do we analyze guys? What do we believe in makes a good player? What makes a good team player? And what makes a good individual player? That what do we need to do for this guy to help them be better? That maybe he doesn't fit here, but he fits somewhere else. So because that's all you're trying to do is just make the best players you possibly can, and you're trying to win at every level. And I think that's something now that I think the Rockies are taking a little bit better position on, is winning. They want to win at every level. I think you should. And I say, you know, you look at Tampa, they won at every level last year, and they're a good team. So they obviously take that seriously. And it shouldn't be, it's got to be about winning. You got to learn how to win. You know, all the numbers matter, and that's great, but you got to learn how to win too. So yeah, so I think I like where the game's at. It can get a little over analyzed sometimes, but I think if you have the right mindset and keep it about baseball, and that's what matters is the product on the field. And, you know, and so, yeah, but yeah, it's just, I've had to go through that and not overanalyze myself, overanalyze things, go down some rabbit holes with some numbers, but I think I'm figuring my process out, and I've had a lot of help with, you know, the front office people, with the analytical department, and my buddies who love this stuff too.
Yeah. Jordan, you mentioned regulating emotion. I'm just curious what it is you mean by that, and what's the best kind of advice or way that you have going about regulating your emotion when you're a hitter?
So that to me is like one of the most important parts of hitting. I feel like it's good we have a good swing, right? We can look on Instagram, we can follow all the gurus, we can have a perfect swing, and then we can have a great approach. But literally when it comes down to is, okay, when you swing and miss, what happens? Like when you're stepping out of that box, you got that 15 seconds. What is your process? How are you getting locked in? What are you doing to stay in the moment? And that's something I think that gets lost, you know. And that's the only piece. Like I think that a lot of these guys are really good coaches who didn't play at the highest level. And I think they bring a lot to the table. And I think they're great for the game. But it's that one piece of being in the box and being able to help a guy understand, how do you breathe? What do you need to focus on? How do you regulate yourself in that moment where, yeah, okay, you did swing and miss at a curveball that was 30 feet. Everybody is laughing at you. What do you do now? You know, kind of thing. Like, how do you handle those situations? Or yeah, you just went 3 for 3 and, you know, you're close to, you know, you're going to go 4 for 4. Are you going to give in right here and just be like, oh, I'm good, I'm 3 for 3? No, like, you know, competing. I think that's the word I'm looking for, is how do you compete, regulate your emotions and compete in those moments. And I think that's something that's kind of missed in the game right now, when you kind of don't have, you know, a guy who's been there. But, you know, that's kind of what I mean by, I guess, regulating your emotions in that moment.
Yeah, and the pro game is at a really interesting spot because there is a lot more emotion being shown. I mean, when you think about the Tatises and Baez's and even pitchers like Bowers and all that stuff, right? Emotion is being shown a lot more. And so it's a really interesting balance. Is that something that you enjoy watching about the pro game, or is that something that's, you know, being an old school guy, maybe, you know, don't like all that stuff? What do you think?
You know, I'm not too old school where, you know, I'm not like, oh man, don't be flipping your bat and stuff. You know, I'm not yelling at the TV and, you know, sending out hate tweets when some guy see a guy, you know, do that. I never played like that was just how I grew up. I never played like that. My dad always said, hey, you just act like you've done it before all the time. And that was just how I was raised. And I never, you know, but I didn't hit 450-foot homers. So I don't know. Maybe if I would have hit some 450-foot homers, I would have been flipping the bat more. You know, if I hit a homer, I was like, I don't know if that's getting out here. I'm going to run as hard as I can to first. But I think it's good. I think emotion's great for the game. I think the fans love it. And that's the thing. Fans like it. I think that brings out some competitive edge in some guys, like the banter back and forth. And I think that's what the game's about. As long as you can do it respectfully and you're not trying to show the guy up, I think it's great, because all those guys you're the best players in the world. These are the best players in the world. They should be able to have fun and do what they were born to do. And I think we should be able to watch them do it in their own special way. So I'm not totally against. I think it kind of gets ridiculous when the bat goes a little, you know, or you're carrying the bat for so long or whatever, or you're flipping it, you know, I don't know what the height is where I'm like, yeah, that's a little high. But yeah, hey, big moment, big spot, walk off, go ahead in the 8th inning. Off relievers are tough, or big strikeout in a moment. Gosh, man, you got to show it. Like, I think that's what helps these guys keep competing and that's how they perform. That's how you get the best out of them. So I don't know where the line is. Maybe as a coach now, I'll be a little more on it. Yeah, I'll find it when I got a guy running off the mound after he punched out 4 of my guys in a row. Like, maybe I'll find that line for myself.
Yeah, what are you gonna do when your center fielder bat flips a double? What's your reaction gonna be then?
I guess you're just gonna have to look and see on that MILB YouTube when it comes on what I do.
We'll have to get a hold of Albuquerque to just have a camera right on you. The isotopes are hitting.
Well, hopefully I don't show too much emotion, right? I'll just maybe, yeah, we'll see. But I want these guys to have fun. I want them to, because you don't know how long you're going to do this either. You don't know how long you're going to play. So I want them to have fun. I want them to enjoy themselves, but respect the competition, respect where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, you were totally a lunch pail kind of guy, and you played a lot of different positions. I'm just curious, one position you got to pick. What are you playing? Are you catching? You playing a corner? What are you doing?
Man, if I'm real, I grew up playing second base, and then I never played that position when I got into pro baseball. So I always loved that position. But I think catcher. I really enjoyed catcher, and I wish I could have become like a better catcher. But there was just, I don't think I the time thing was always a crunch for me. It's just, I don't know if I had enough time to do it, but I would have loved. I mean, I respect so many catchers and how they handle themselves and how they play the game, and they got to call the game. They got to handle their pitching staff. And then especially the guys that can hit, even, man, those guys are unbelievable, and throwing guys out, blocking, showing up every day. I think that's just the position that it needs to get paid more, I think, than what they pay some of these guys to go out there every day and do it. So maybe they can work that into the CBA. Like, hey, catchers need a little pay raise.
Yeah, always leaving with 5 or 6 more bruises than you came in with, right?
Yeah, man. Yep. And you got to do it the next day too. So
yeah. What was your favorite moment in the pros?
Yeah, I mean, your favorite moment, I think just getting called up. I mean, your first call up is pretty sweet, and being able to run on the field, and you have all those emotions kind of going through you. You've already ran it through your head, a million times that, you've seen yourself run on the field. You're feeling the dirt. You're doing all those things. You're getting the ground ball off of the perfect grass. I think that's the moment I think is I hold dear to my heart the most. And then, you get in the box, and then all of a sudden that first pitch comes at you, and you're like, man, and you can see every seam on the baseball. You're like, man, these lights are fantastic. It's the only time you can never complain about the lights again. Everywhere, at least you can do that. Like AA, maybe some AAA, you can be like, man, the lights aren't good today. That's why big leagues, you can't do that because those lights are fantastic.
Does Albuquerque still have that hill out in center field?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do still have the hill. I thought they were going to get rid of it at one time, but they still got it out there. Because I know, Houston got rid of their hill, so I was like, oh, Albuquerque's next, but they left it in there. So
yeah, our boy, we talked to Winton Bernard at the end of last season. And he made a catch on the hill late last season.
I saw that one. Yeah,
sat on his butt and just waved to the fans like, "Hey guys, I got it." The hill is stupid.
Oh man, yeah, I got to play there and all through college, and we actually had a center fielder who figured it out, and he could run up that thing, Matt Foote. He could run up that thing and catch anything. I was like, then I see guys. I go to some of these games, and those guys get it for the first time, and they fall and they don't even make it up. But it's a skill. It's definitely a skill.
Yes, it is. I want to go back to your call up. Do you remember where you were when you got the call, or like what that moment was? When you're like, hey, you're making it, you're making the show.
Yeah, it was our last game in Colorado Springs, 2011. We were done. I had my car packed up. It's only a 6-hour drive to Albuquerque. So I was, had all plans to just, go home. Cause I mean, I had an okay year. I was catching and stuff, but, and they did put me at third the last 2 games of the season for some reason. They were like, can you play third? I'm like, well, yeah, but you haven't put me there in 4 years. So, but yeah, let's like, I guess they're like, oh, they just want to see if you can play. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. So they put me there the last 2 games and I was like, I don't know what they're doing. And then game was over and they like, hey, you're going up, Stu Cole called me in. It's like, hey, you're getting called up. You're going up tomorrow. I'll just, drive up to Denver. I was like, oh, all right, cool. And he's like, you're going to start at third base. I was like, man, you guys really know how to just
Make
really
it easy on a
surprise
guy.
me. Yeah, make it easy on the first time. Yeah, it's all right. We figured it
Wow.
out for a little bit.
That's crazy. Who was your first at bat against?
Actually, it was really nice. I got to face Josh Colementor. We were playing the Diamondbacks, and I had previously caught him in the fall league in 2010. So we become good friends, and I'd caught him. So it was like, oh, I didn't have to worry about the scouting report or anything, and I wasn't getting an overpowering 95. I was getting a 88, 90 mile an hour fast with good changeup and everything else. But so yeah, it was that was the first guy I got to face and first hit. So
I kind of want to dive into a little bit of your time with the Rockies, because it just from an outside perspective, it's a very unique career that you had, because for one, they're sticking you at third and you don't really have much experience there. And then you also, like, you hit 309 your rookie year, you're 6th in the rookie of the year voting. And then that's when, that's kind of when I really started following the Rockies at a close level. And you start hearing about Nolan Arenado, and there's also Todd Helton playing first. So I just kind of diving into that mental aspect. I mean, did the whole Nolan talk, it's got to be a unique experience having a guy like that, like a Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg type player coming up behind you, and you don't really know what's going to happen, especially after having a successful rookie year. How do you think that affected you?
Yeah, so it was really interesting, right? We did, I made the team in 2012 and out of camp, and we had Chris Nelson, and he was playing third. So he was playing third. I was kind of going to be, they didn't really know what to do with me at that point. So I made the team, and then I think I started 1 game at third base, and I remember I made a play in Houston, and it was like the backhand, and I threw the ball to first, and totally threw it over the thing, over the first baseman's head. And we came into the locker room, we were there, Dan O'Dow came in, and it was like, hey man, don't worry, stay, you're fine, we're not sending you down, everything's gonna be good. And then literally the next day I got sent back down, and I was like, okay, well, I guess so I got sent back down, and they're like, well, you're gonna play third here, and we don't think Nolan's ready yet, which again, like I said in the beginning, right, you got to be in the right spot at the right time kind of thing. You got to get lucky. And that's kind of what it was for me. I think Nelson got hurt. They really didn't want to send anybody else up, and they were kind of in a rebuilding year. And so they sent me up there, and I was playing well in AAA. And then I kind of got to stay there the rest of the year. And then kind of same thing, kind of coming into the next year in 13, they didn't know what to do with me. We had Nolan was going to be there eventually, he was coming. They didn't know how, their expectations for Nolan were not what Nolan has done. So they thought he was, they thought he was going to be good, but I think the scouting report was like his defense was questionable.
Yeah.
I think he got right. Like, yeah. So, yeah, but then he got called up, and, and then we had Todd, and I think we had Willeen Rosario behind the dish, who they really, they wanted to give a good shot. We had Ramon Hernandez too, I think, as a backup. So there really wasn't like a spot. I mean, then we had DJ and Josh Rutledge and Tulo. So it was kind of like, okay, you're going to be a super utility guy. They just kind of made a spot for me. But it was tough. Like, I mean, I learned a lot about myself. I got to pinch hit, which was great. And I think this stuff is going to help me in my coaching career. I got to do that and learn how to do that. You only learn how to pinch hit when you're in the big leagues. You don't learn that anywhere else. They're not sending prospects they're like, hey, we're going to teach you how to pinch hit in AA. You're only doing that in the show. I got to learn that. I got to play the outfield. I got to do so many things that I never, would have been able to do. And I think that's just going to help me for my coaching. But yeah, there was nights I'd come home and it was a mental struggle. I got maybe 2 at bats in 2 weeks, and I'm hitting like $120, but I have 10 at bats, and I'm panicking because I've never been in that situation before. I'm calling my mom and I'm being like, I think I'm quitting. I'm done. I can't do this anymore, kind of thing. And I'm like, she's like, you're in the big leagues, like just calm down, kind of thing. So yeah, but it was a unique situation, but I got to play so many positions. I learned so much about myself. I got to go through so much stuff in the game of baseball that, when a guy now comes to me, I don't think I'm not going to have an answer for him for something, hopefully. And I really think I'm going to, calm him down a little bit and teach him how to deal with some things, because there's a lot that this game throws at you. And again, like I said, you got to go through some certain situations to be able to relate to these guys, and you got to have that empathy for them. They're going through something that, not many guys get to go through, and it's great, but there's a lot that comes with it. So yeah, it was unique, but end of the day, I would not change anything. Maybe a couple home runs that I wish I would have hit, but other than that, we're good.
That piece where you talked about how you kind of wanted to give up a couple times. I mean, I don't know if you paid attention, but last year, your main Mercedes starts the year, the first 2 months, he's hitting 400, and he's retired by like right after the All-Star break. Like,
right, yeah.
Obviously, fans don't understand that at all because we don't have any insight into that kind of stuff. But I think that's a really important aspect of the game, that the mental is really, really difficult. And then you mentioned pinch hitting. What's that like? I mean, why can you only learn that at the major league level?
Yeah,
what's the routine like, I guess? I mean, that your only shot that day is going to be maybe a pinch hitter, right? So like, what's the day like if you know that that's going to be maybe your only opportunity that day?
Yeah, it actually, and what was really good is I got, a pretty good mentor with Jason Giambi when I was, in Colorado, and I got to see his process, because that's all he did. Like, and his expectation for when he came out was, you better hit a home run. Like, we need a home run. Like, anytime he was hitting, it was, we need a home run. So seeing a guy like that, obviously he had played for a very long time and he knew himself very well, but to be able to talk to him about his process, watch him, go hit off the tee in the 5th inning, and then watching him in the 7th and 8th inning, down underneath, like just his eyes closed. He's just he's meditating, he's doing his own thing. He's visualizing, who is he gonna face. And usually with him, it was a little easier because he knew who he was gonna face. He's usually, if we need, he's facing he's facing your guy, the closer, and we need a big hit. So, to be able to kind of just see him do that. And, it's, I guess you only kind of get thrown in that situation in the big leagues because, maybe you'll pinch hit a couple times when you're in AAA or AA. But usually if, you're going to the big leagues, you're playing every day in those, double AAA and big leagues, they kind of transition you and like, you got to learn, your pinch hitting today. But maybe the universal DH now, if that comes into play, won't be as big a deal for the National League. But, you're still going to have guys pinch hitting, and it's something that you got to learn.
Does the universal DH make you a little happy that you don't have to coach pitchers how to hit?
I don't know, man. Hey, like there are some very athletic
Yes, there
pitchers, and I know they talk themselves up probably too much sometimes, but all you got to do is go out there and play like a flag football game, and you'll see right away, like, okay, that's the guy. He's going to be my go-to if we need a pitcher to hit. Oh, he's a starter, good. Okay, he's going to be able to hit. I can teach him something. Or you see some of those guys, and you're like, we won't even worry. Like, I'm not even gonna waste my time right there with that one.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But you talked about like your career, like really building you up for like your coaching and like the experiences, like helping you be a coach. Couldn't agree more. Like you learn from your experiences, your mistakes, your successes. Like it makes you who you are. Like it's super cool. I guess my question is like, did you ever hear, what was like a piece of advice that you had when you were coming up through it that kind of stuck with you? It was like, kind of, yeah, that's my go-to every single time.
Man, there's a lot of things that that I keep with me. And again, I think it was just when I got to Arizona, and this was just something that was just, really big in my mind at that time. Cause like I said, let's go back to the pinch hitting. I got with a guy named Turner Ward. He was our hitting coach at the time. He's now St. Louis's assistant. He was a Dodgers hitting coach for a while. And he was unbelievable. And at that time he'd done a lot of pinch hitting in his career too. And he just, he would make it so simple for me. And I don't know if it was like one piece of advice, but he would just make it very simple. Hit the ball over, like it didn't matter who the guy was. He would tell me exactly where to hit the ball. And at that point, that kind of sparked something in my head that sometimes, hey, it's just about, let's keep it external most of the time, because a lot of these guys get internal with thoughts, and we're in the cage, we're worrying about where our hands are, how everything's feeling. And that was kind of like a big coaching thing that I always kind of want to keep with me now. It's just, if I can just give them that external thought before they go out there and keep it on the pitcher, on the ball. They can do all their work before, but that's the main thing. And that kind of goes down to regulating your emotions. And let's keep it on the field. Where are you going to try to hit this baseball? That was a big thing for me, and a big piece of advice that really stuck, because at that time I was, trying to, anticipate pitches, pick them instead of just, and then I realized that my eyes started working better. I started seeing the ball instead of trying to see the ball. Because I was trying to hit the ball in a certain place. My approach got better, my bats got better, especially late in the game. So that was this one piece of advice that has always stuck with me, and I think will help me definitely being a hitting coach.
Just a little thing to slow everything down and just kind of push everything off to the side. It's always fun to hear like how that works for certain people. Like, that might not work for like per se Nolan or something, right? Like that was
100%.
That coach knew what you needed in that moment.
Yeah.
And that allows you to slow it down. And that's
100%.
That's huge. That's really cool. I love that.
That's a good coach.
Yeah, that's a very good coach.
That's why he's been in the big leagues for a long time as a hitting coach.
Right. There. Yeah. He knows what he's doing up there. Speaking of coaching, so last few weeks ago, we mentioned on the pod, like the hitting coach. We set some expectations for you.
Sick. I like it. I like expectations.
So I guess the expectations we had for you, that the team average would be above 400 and an OPS above 900 is
all right.
That's for sure happening, right?
I think with the ballpark we're in and the, PCL, I wouldn't see like we couldn't do that.
So yeah, I think altitude could help you out quite a bit.
Right.
We get I think hey, never know. We might have to do this again, and then hopefully we'll see about halfway through if we're close enough.
We'll check in at the All-Star game.
Yeah, you check in and then I might be fired by then, but hey.
No. There's no way.
Yeah.
No, man, you got our boys, Winton, Taylor Snyder. You'll probably have Coco Montez,
Okay.
Willie Mack maybe will be up there. You
Who
got
do you
some.
guys like? Who do you guys like? Who do you guys like on our squad?
I mean,
That
I like
might.
the guys I just named.
Okay. All right.
Those are our guys.
Okay.
I mean, are you insider baseball? Colton Welker, Mike Tolia. Do you have any words names on those guys? Montero, Euleris?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, thought I'd try. I mean, with that, like, have you done any like game planning for your dudes that you might see? Have you started like doing the behind the scene coaching stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been, I think I've been, I got, now it's kind of cool now. You kind of don't have to, like be physically with guys anymore to see what they, can do kind of, I can look at the true media and look at some things and kind of get a feel for what guys can do well. And then when I'm able to work with them and get in the cage and see who they are as a person, their personality, then I can kind of match some of those things up and how to talk to them, how to who they are as a as a person, as an athlete. How do they play the game? Like you said, do they play with high emotion, low emotion, no emotion? And those things are all going to have to come into play. But yeah, I can definitely look at things now and get a feel for who these guys are as hitters. And then, okay, how do I think I can make them better? And then looking with our analytical guys, okay, what do you feel we need to do with this guy to make him a better team player, make him a better individual player? How is he going to help us in the big leagues? Like, what kind of player is he going to be? Going to being able to look over some of the guys who were in the big leagues last year, who or who've got 1 or 2 years under their belt. Like that's cool stuff, because that you can look at all that now and like, okay, maybe I see some things here on this paper that maybe somebody else doesn't see, and let me see if those things match up when you get to kind of work with some of these guys. So I think I've been doing some homework, and which is cool because I can do that now. You don't have to just be with a guy and flip him a baseball or throw it to him or get in the cage. You can do stuff now.
Yeah. Are you pretty stoked about it? Are you like, have you been looking forward to this coaching moment for like a long time? Or is it just like, hey, when Colorado called you, like that was the moment? Like, I guess what was your mentality like to start the coaching route?
Yeah, I had to go through some things to get back to this point, because I think everybody at a certain point, when you're playing in the big leagues and you're getting sent up and sent down, that does a lot to you kind of psychologically, like these guys don't want me, that guy doesn't want me. And then all of a sudden you get to free agency and no team's calling you anymore. Like, oh man, but you still feel you can play the game of baseball, and you kind of lose that. And I, it happens to some of my buddies, and then they don't stay in the game and they go do something else, which is totally fine. But I lost that for a while, but then I got to go play independent ball and, kind of be my, even though I've been my own coach for my whole life, but, you're really your own coach in independent ball. Nobody's making sure you're going to the field. Nobody's making sure you're at stretch or anything. You're on your own because you love baseball. And that kind of brought it back to me. And I was like, man, I really do. I love this game. I love to play it. I love to be in the dugout. I love to help guys. And then you're getting really young guys all of a sudden, and they haven't even made it to AA, and they're happy to be there. And they're so excited that you're on their team. And you're like, man, that's what I need. That's what I miss. And I need to get that back. And that's what independent ball did for me. And that in that moment, I was like, man, I really love enjoying helping these young guys, because I was able to offer them something. And I think when you play for a while, you get kind of in your own head, and you don't feel you can offer anybody anything. But you play the game for a while, like I played it for 15 years professionally. It's like, I do have something to offer these young guys. And whether it's just how to put their uniform on or run onto the field, it's something that they appreciate because you're taking the time. So yeah, it kind of built for me the last couple years of my career. And then kind of when I was at the end, I was like, man, I want to stay in this game. I love it. I love playing it. I want to help guys. Let's see what the next step is.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like did you like find yourself at independent ball kind of like taking players under your wing, like trying to start the kind of coaching stuff, whether you knew you were doing it or not?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you help guys one little bit, and then I got a couple chances back in AAA with the Mariners and the Twins, and that was great because I think with the Mariners we lost Jose Lobaton. He got traded to the Dodgers, and he was the oldest guy in the clubhouse. And I was like, ah, good. Then we lost him, and then I was the oldest guy in the clubhouse, and I was like, okay, I've accomplished something. I'm now the oldest guy in the clubhouse. I think we're getting to the end here. But you have the younger guys, and it's a young game now. We had a bunch of young guys, and they were asking me questions. They were looking at me how I handle myself in situations. I was definitely looked at as a mentor and somebody they could rely on for anything on the field, off the field. So you kind of get thrown into that the longer you play the game, and you enjoy that because it's something you can offer, and then it's something you can give back to the game and then to these younger kids.
Yeah, makes sense. I love that. I get that. Yeah, that's awesome. So we usually end with some fun questions. But I mean, you're the seasoned vet, so we're gonna switch up the fun questions a little bit. Nothing too scary.
Okay.
First question: can you name absolutely every single team that you've played for since 2007?
Minor league. Oh man.
Minor league, independent, winter ball.
I mean, I bet. How long do I get? Do I get like 30 seconds or something?
You can take as long as you want.
Well, I started at Casper, Wyoming. So the Casper Rockies, and Tri-City Dust Devils. And I went to Asheville. Then I went to Modesto. So Modesto Nuts, Asheville Taurus. Then I was part of the Scottsdale Scorpions. And then Colorado Springs Sky Sox. And then I did play Team USA, so that was I think after, and then Rockies, and back to the Sky Sox, Rockies, back to the Sky Sox, then the Diamondbacks, and then the Reno Aces, and then I think I went Diamondbacks, maybe, yeah, and then Cincinnati Reds. Then I went to Louisville for a little bit. Louisville Bats, and I got to play with the Gwinnett Braves, and then I went to the Long Island Ducks, and I went to the Minnesota Twins, but I didn't play for them. I played for the Rochester Red Hawks. The Red Hawks.
Yep, Red Wings.
Red Wings. Oh, I'd have missed. Dang it. Red Wings. Then I played for Monclova Acereros.
Yeah.
Well, then I forgot all the Dominican. I did play for the Toros and La Romana, Escogido, the Leones. Then I played for the San Francisco Gigantes and Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Then I played for the Lexington Legends, and I think that's it.
You missed one.
I counted two misses.
But
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
You missed the Tulsa Drillers.
Yeah.
I played for the. Why did I forget? How did I forget the Tulsa Drillers? I was there a month. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 21 games.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the other one.
I think it was Escogido.
Oh, Escogido, the Leones.
Yeah. No, he
okay. So you got that.
Yeah.
I missed one. Oh man.
That's pretty good. Dang. That's a lot to remember.
That was impressive. And you went, I guess you were going in your mind down your career. That was.
I was trying to do that. That was the simplest way.
So kind of a follow-up to that, what was your favorite uniform?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same one.
I mean, my favorite uniform, you can't beat the Rockies like cutoffs, the black ones. Those are
Yeah.
like my favorite unis ever to put on. Like I mean, any big league uniform is my favorite uniform to ever put on, but that one, and then definitely being able to wear like, you know, Jackie Robinson, like those uniforms are really sweet. Like when everybody's wearing those, and it's just that's obviously a cool thing to be a part of. And I got to keep one of I think my Cincinnati Reds one, which
That's sweet.
is really cool.
That's sweet. Parenthood. As parents, I have 3 kids under 4. James
Oh
E
my
has
goodness.
one that's fresh, what, 4 months?
Yeah.
That's why he's rubbing his eyes. That's why
Yeah.
like, when is this over so I can sleep?
It's a little different. How cool was it like to bring your kids to the ballpark to watch you play ball, to be part of it? Like, I think they're still young. Your kids are still young, so they don't quite get it, I'm sure. But like, it's got to be something cool for you to bring them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's. I remember guys bringing their kids into the locker room. I remember Michael Kadire bringing his boy in, and he'd walk around and give everybody high fives, and he'd know everybody's name, like first and last name. And I think he was like 4 or 5, and I'm like, how does he do
That's adorable.
that? Yeah, it was unbelievable. But like those moments, you're like, you know, I wasn't married or I didn't have a girlfriend at the time either, and I was like, man, it'd be really cool to have. And I was like, no. I don't need that right now. But yeah, it's one of the coolest things, and that's kind of, you know, along the lines of still wanting to learn about the game, but having my kids come, and my daughter got to experience that. She's 4 now. My little boy's 2.5, almost 3. But she got to come to the games in Seattle, and she loved it. Like, she loved the music in between. She was dancing, and she had friends there. And, you know, AAA, you know, you got a couple more kids because you got a little older team, and she was loving it. And she remembers that so well. And she'll just like bring things up from like, when are we going back to Tacoma? I'm like, what do you remember? You were 2. Like, then I got to think like that was half her life ago. Like it wasn't that long ago. So yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to play that last year in Lexington. I wanted my boy to experience it, come to the locker room, hang out with the guys, because he's not gonna, maybe when he's older, but he had no idea if it was, you know, Coors Field or, you know, Legends Park. He didn't care. He wanted to come to the locker room. He wanted to throw the ball around, wanted to run the bases, and yeah, that's special. And being able to have that as a dad, man, you look back and go, man, I wish I would have had kids a little bit earlier, or just been a better baseball player, one of the two. So.
That's great to hear. One of my favorite things is taking my boys to the ball games, and like you said, like your little girl dancing and bopping. I took my kids to a hockey game last night, just me and the 2 oldest ones, and they were clapping and saying, "Let's go Griffins!" And like, but my 2-year-old was just hilarious, just popping popcorn and yelling, "Let's go!" It was a cool dad moment.
Some popcorn, right? Yeah, you're a cool dad moment right there, man. And they won't forget that for a long time. Like,
they're already asking, when are we going again?
Yeah, and probably when can they have popcorn? Like, are we getting popcorn too?
That's the only thing they wanted to go.
There you go.
Whatever. It was fun. It was cool. Fix baseball for us. Extra inning rules. So I don't know how I want to ask this. So I want to get your thoughts on it, but also that the Pioneer League is doing a sudden death thing where they play an extra inning. So tied at 9, they play a 10th inning. After the 10th, if it's still tied, they play sudden death rules, where you literally flip a coin and you pick offense or defense. And if the offense doesn't score, the defensive team wins. And then if the offense does score, the offensive team wins.
An offense gets a runner on first base.
That was the kicker.
Just on first, though.
Yeah, just on first.
No outs.
No outs.
Man, what do I think about that?
Yeah. You down, or how do you fix that? What can we add to the CBA? We can email your boss real quick.
Right. I don't know if they want to hear from me. Man, I don't know. I see the benefit of some of that stuff, like at the lower levels.
Oh,
You got some long bus rides.
Yeah, you don't want to do 22 innings, bro.
Yeah, you do have an extensive like expanded roster down there though too. Like you can literally, I think you can have, I don't know how many guys on that roster. So I don't know if I would do the sudden death thing. I got to be a part of the one last year in gosh, what? Yeah, was it? I guess that was the because the Pioneer League, that's the independent league, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I got to be a part of that one last year because I was coaching in Grand Junction for a little bit, for like a month, and it was sudden death home run derby,
Yeah, those home run derby.
and I got to like watch one, and it was, I mean, it was cool, I guess. It wasn't baseball, but it was like, everybody was excited. Like I think we got to the 12th inning or something, and they're like, okay, I think you had like 2 extra innings, and then you got to go home run derby. And you got to pick your one guy, and you need a good BP thrower, obviously, for that. But yeah, I don't know about, man. I don't know. I think there's something to like teaching a guy how to grind through 15 innings and then get on a bus, and then you got to go do it again the next day. I know, they don't want, injuries is a big thing, especially at that level, and they're trying to keep everybody safe. But I think there's something to that mental aspect. You're trying to see what guys can play the game day in and day out. You don't want 22 innings, no,
Right.
like James said, but man, yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe they're messing with it too much. I don't know.
We'll check
but
back in with you once you have
yeah.
some games under your belt, see what you think.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't ask this earlier, but this will be our last question. The robo umps are coming to Albuquerque, the AAA. You can keep your thoughts to yourself. You don't have to go down that road. But like, how do you?
No, let's go.
How do you coach
Let me
that?
talk about them. How do I coach?
Like, or how is that going to change everything? I guess. Give us a baseball perspective on that.
So I got to experience it last year in the Atlantic League, and there's different systems. There's obviously TrackMan has theirs, and I think we use TrackMan in the Atlantic League. And I think what the big leagues use, and I think what we're gonna use, is Hawkeye. I don't know if you guys are familiar with any of that stuff. It's supposed to be, so the TrackMan is just I think it's just Doppler. It's just like a sensor that it just it picks the ball up, and then where Hawkeye's like video on top of that. So you kind of are getting 2 things that are analyzing the pitch spin and rotation and speed and where it, the proximity of where it crosses the plate. So I think it's going to be more accurate. The only thing I didn't like about it is it took a while. Like there was a delay. Like once the pitch crossed the plate, there was like, a good 2 seconds before, it got relayed to the ear, and then it was a strike or ball call. So, again, like I think it's good for the game if it makes it better and if it makes it entertaining for the fans. Like if it does that, it's good. But if it starts, impacting the game, because I know it didn't work all the time. We had delays because the iPhone fell out of the back pocket. It was just like, what are we doing here? Just let the guys, call the pitches. And so again, if it can make the game better and we feel that it makes the game better and it helps these guys play it better, then I think, I'll be for it. But again, we got to let this thing, if they're really serious about it, you gotta use it, which, I think, you got to use it because it's collecting data. So it needs to be run, and it needs to have its mistakes, and it needs to be corrected. And so it could be the best thing, so it could be at its best. But yeah, you can't argue as much anymore. I mean, you can, but arguments go down. We didn't have anybody thrown out because of a bad strike call or a missed call from the pitcher. But yeah, it's something new. Obviously, these guys are gonna have to get used to it.
Yeah.
That had to just kind of add to the frustration, though. If it's like a borderline pitch and like nobody even knows if it's a strike or ball, you know, like if it's like a 3-2 count and the guy's walking to first, and then like 3 seconds later he's like, "You're out." Yeah.
That happened plenty of times. Like we ended up guys having to like stand there and wait. And the only thing it really affected though was, you know, say you have a guy at first base, he takes off, you have a 3-2 count.
Yeah.
You know, do you like you kind of just have to throw it at that point. And that I don't like if it's gonna be like that, that's, you know, with the umpire, you're talking to him, you're like, hey, I need a early call right here. Like call it as fast as you can because I know this guy's stealing, you know, and usually they do a really good job of that. You know, with a robo umpire, you're not going to get that. You know, so we'll see we'll see how it works. We'll see, you know, because I think that's a big part of the game that's coming back is that, you know, guys are realizing that 90 feet is really, really special. You know, if you can get 20%, you know, better chance of scoring a run, that's, you know, that's something that, you know, guys are going to need. You saw it in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with that thing.
Yeah. There's a lot extra. There's a lot more to it. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. The delay's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. Well, Jordan, thanks for hanging out. This was a blast for us. This was this was a big deal for us. So thank you for letting us live that dream.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys.
And
I appreciate
thank
your
you,
time.
man.
Thank you.
Again, I said like you're the perfect man for the job, and I'm excited to see what you do down there.
Well, I appreciate it. If we're hitting like 200, please don't call me or Instagram me or anything. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Yeah,
good luck.
All right, thanks
man. Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.